To order, and we're going to first start with a public hearing, and this is the purpose of the establishment of an Experior Schaumburg Development Dormant Special Service Area. We need to cover the whole document, or what do we need?
No, I would say, so the purpose of the public hearing, as Mayor Daley said, is to deal with the dormant special service area for the Experior development, which was approved on the ordinance announcing the public hearing was approved on June 14th. The zoning has already been approved. The purpose of the SSA is to provide a backstop so that if the requirements that relate to retaining storm sewers, retaining walls, wetland areas, detention basins, monument signage, and other open spaces are not maintained according to the agreement between the village and Experior, the village can do that work and then recover its costs by using a levy under the dormant SSA. But as long as Experior does what it's supposed to do, no monies will be levied. And this is a public hearing to allow the public to comment on that dormant SSA's creation.
Okay, so first thing, a reminder, please turn off any electronic devices you may have, and then I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Bishke.
Present.
Trustee Madej.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Present.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Clare.
Present.
President Daley.
Present.
Trustee Kozak
Here.
is attending remotely due to health issues.
Okay, so it's been explained as to what the purpose of this public hearing is. So I'm going to open it to any comments from the audience. Please come forward. I think it's been explained as to what it is. It's a benefit to the village, so, but open to comments. Okay, seeing none, our next step is to just close the hearing.
Yes.
Okay, I look for a motion to
Move
close.
to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Clare.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you.
And just to note for the record that normally there would be a 60-day period now for property owners affected by the SSA to object, but the total property in this SSA is owned by Experior, and they have submitted a notarized waiver of an objection. So the board will be entertaining a final motion to create that SSA at one of the 2 meetings in September.
Okay, thank you. Marilyn, are you ready for board meeting?
Do we need to adjourn the public hearing?
You closed
I'm
it,
sorry.
that's
Okay,
okay.
yeah. Okay, you ready? All right, we are going to call the village board meeting to order for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Again, please make sure all electronic devices are silenced, and if the clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Bishke.
Present.
Trustee Madej.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Present.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Clare.
Present.
President Daley.
Present.
Trustee Kozak
Here.
attending remotely due to illness.
Okay, all present and accounted for. I would like to ask Trustee Madej to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would.
Audience, please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like to ask Trustee Dunham has mentioned it, and I think it's entirely appropriate that we have a moment of silence for former director Jack Netter of the Prairie Center, who passed away yesterday. He's been a longtime employee after Betsy left as director after her long term. there. Jack took over and did a phenomenal job, very seamless, just great. You wouldn't know, any transition took place. So very deeply in gratitude, and of course, Jack, great guy, always a nice smile, and always said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And
he did.
Yeah, and he did. So thank you, George, for bringing it up, and if we can take just a moment of silence here. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next item is the approval of minutes, August 9th, 2022. For a motion to
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the August 9th, 2022 executive session minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Kozak, for speaking up too. Appreciate that. That helps. Next item is the approval of expenditures for $4,250,626.45.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve as presented. Will the clerk please pull the board?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Clare.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Thank you. 6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. We are going to skip the presentations for now. Individuals unavailable for this evening. Moving on to liquor license requests. We have a request from Mr. Juan. I'm sure I'm going to cut this up, so Cutel.
Quadley.
I should always ask George.
Uh-oh.
George knows. For a Class F liquor license for Silo Mexican Grill located 1108 South Roselle Road. So I assume you are the petitioner?
Correct.
Okay, can we ask you to please come forward? This is a new license. I want you to come up to the podium. Just sign your name in here. And
And
then,
how do you pronounce the name?
yes.
Quadley.
Quadley.
I was
Yeah,
close.
Yeah, you're right. I was out in left field somewhere. Matter of fact, I wasn't even in the park, I don't think. That's all right. Okay, so it says new license, so I assume, is this an existing location?
Correct.
Okay. What is it currently?
Restaurant, Mexican restaurant.
Oh, so it's currently a Mexican restaurant. 1108 South Roselle Road. So whereabouts is that?
Right by a KD grocery store.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, okay, right, okay. All right, so you're a new owner, picked it up, okay. Are you planning any changes or anything different for the location?
No, I think we're not gonna keep it the same. I just wanna sell liquor to get more business
Okay.
to our property.
Okay, all right. Questions, comments from the board? Trustee
Is the
Dunham?
name changing, or has it been Cielo?
It's been in Seattle since we opened 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
So just to clarify, it's not a new owner. You've had the restaurant for 2 years. And now
Correct.
you're just expanding to add liquor.
Correct.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Other questions, comments from the board? No? Okay. With that, you will go to the Liquor Commissioner's office, which is also the mayor's office upstairs during normal business hours, and you can apply for the, in this case, a Class F liquor license, and then there's a background check and appropriate paperwork and fees to be paid, and once all that's done and approved, you'll be issued the license.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome to stay or leave if you want.
All right, thank you.
Realize you got a business to run. so-
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next item is a request, and I'm not going to even start, so.
Me either.
George? No.
Well, I got the first name pretty well figured out.
I fall back. George. So-
My name is Joseph Toda, but that's AJ for short, if that helps.
Okay, and you're applying for really what will be a new Class F3, but the purpose here is to, as you heard, is to discuss what you're looking to do, and you're with Tapville Social.
That's
so
correct.
you're looking to locate into Woodfield Mall and the food court. So why don't you, we got the pictures, I distributed those, so everybody sees that, but why don't you talk a little bit about the product and how maybe you came about and how this is all working out? I know you have other locations such as Rosemont, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure where else, but.
Yeah, so I'm Joseph Toda. I'm the CEO and founder of Tapville Social. We've been operating in the Chicagoland area for 7 years now. So we started out in Elmhurst, Illinois. We have 12 locations throughout the U.S., and then 6 are in Chicagoland. So we have locations in Schaumburg, well, I'm sorry, soon to be Schaumburg, fingers crossed, but Evanston, Rosemont, Naperville, Aurora. And basically, what we are proposing to do is to put a mini restaurant in the food hall at Woodfield Mall. So we sell a food product, a full food offering, and as well as beer and wine. And we've been operating, for 6 years, really good track record within Illinois. And our concept's kind of unique, if you can see from those drawings. So we have kind of a mini kiosk. We have commercial food equipment. And then what you see there are taps in that photo. So they're actually self-pour taps. And I know Schaumburg's had self-pour before in the area. So the way that our concept works is our guest would come up to one of our guest ambassadors. We would verify identification. We take 2 forms of ID. And then we would issue them a clear plastic cup that holds no more than 16 ounces. And then the guests can, with the supervision of our staff, pour, a glass of beer into that cup. Our technology measures exactly what they pour, so we know down to the 1/10 of an ounce how much they've consumed. And then once they hit a certain amount of ounces, the technology would shut the guest off, and then our staff can kind of monitor that. So it's kind of a unique concept. Self-pour beers become very prevalent throughout the U.S. We have plans to open 60 locations throughout the U.S. We operate in other shopping malls, so this is not uncommon for us. The drawings that you see there are going to be installed in Florida Mall, which is in Orlando, but it would be the same concept for Woodfield. So that's kind of what we're proposing. It's a food and beverage concept. Obviously, at Woodfield Mall there are other liquor licenses that are held there, so we would just be inside the food hall, that's all. And we've been working with Simon Properties very closely on this, and looking at the security and the safety of the shoppers at that center. We've worked closely with their security team. There's a lot of safety measures that we put in place to sell beer and wine within the food court. So, any questions that I can answer? I know it's a new concept, so.
The technology, you're saying you get a glass, a 15-ounce glass, is it barcoded, or you get a card?
You get a card that is synced to a credit card, so that it would charge your credit card at the end of the visit. The glass is just a plastic glass so that we can see what's inside it, and it has one of our logos on it, also for security to see as well.
What's to stop someone for giving that card to a minor?
Well, just like if you go to a restaurant, somebody could pass a beer to a minor, or in a movie theater. We monitor the tap wall, so if somebody comes up, we can prevent them from pouring with our staff. So it's a monitored station with our staff.
Trustee Bischke?
So you mentioned that the amount of alcohol consumed is tracked, I'm assuming by that card?
Yeah.
But can somebody use a different credit card and get another card?
When a guest comes up to our station, we're going to check 2 forms of ID, and then we're going to take their credit card and sync it up with that, we call it a pour pass. But they can always get another pour pass with another card, but it's 1 ID, 1 person per pour pass, and 1 glass at a time. So you couldn't get more than 1 glass.
Okay, and what's the limit per pour pass?
It's 32 ounces, which is 2 pints of beer, the same that you could purchase at any other establishment. So it's 32 ounces.
Okay, but there wouldn't be anything to stop somebody from using a second or a third credit card and getting another pour pass?
They could come up, but then our staff is trained in Bassett, so if there's a situation where they've overconsumed, we would prevent them from getting another card.
It's a good question, and I did,
Yeah.
that was part of what I had asked.
Yeah.
Just the same as if you could have two people and one drinks and one doesn't, and the second person can go up and continue to buy alcohol, could get 32 ounce more and give it to that person.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty hard. I think it's going to be very dependent upon, obviously, their staff keeping track and Woodfield staff, a conversation I did have with Chris Specca, the general manager, saying Woodfield needs to monitor this pretty carefully.
And last question, how many staff do you plan to have on site during a shift?
Typically, it's about 2 staff members, one that can check IDs and then one that can monitor the tap wall, which we call it a tap wall in the diagram. In Woodfield, we're just proposing that all the alcohol is kept within the food court or the dining pavilion. Other locations that we operate, they have strolling licenses, so the patron can carry their beverage throughout the common areas of the mall. And we've been doing that for three years now in Illinois. So, but this would be more of a contained area within the mall.
Mr. President,
Yes. Trustee Sullivan.
Yes, sir.
where's your kitchen area, your food prep area? I got the picture, I'm having a hard time envisioning where you would prepare your food.
So we use, if you've been to Starbucks, we use what's called a turbo chef. So when you order a bacon turkey sandwich, it's cooked within an oven. So in that diagram, there's an oven for that we use. And it's infrared technology. It cooks a sandwich. So it's frozen product that's then heated up and cooked, just like Starbucks.
Okay. And you answered the question about how many employees. How many total employees would you have? Just 2? Or do you have somebody that takes care of the food prep for you too?
Typically, 2 would be the minimum staffing levels, but if it's a Saturday or Sunday, and I've shopped at that mall plenty of times, it gets fairly busy. We may have 4 to 5 staff members managing the kiosk, but 2 is kind of the minimum that we would go to.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
2 questions. One, what are your hours of operation going to be?
we typically follow the mall hours, and then we typically stop alcohol service usually about 30 minutes before the mall would close. Yeah.
Okay, and the only other question, I'm looking, there's 8 taps. Is one employee enough to be able to monitor all of those if they get busy?
Well, there's actually 16, but there's
well, I'm
double,
looking at
yeah.
one wall, yeah.
Yeah, but when they're standing there, it's kind of the patron would come up, there's going to be a containment wall, and then they can let that patron pour. So it does work in a pretty orderly fashion.
Okay.
And then, putting the containment wall in place helps prevent, a lot of busyness that could happen up at that tap wall.
Yeah, I see there's 2 on each one. I just enlarged
Yeah.
it. Okay. It's a small screen.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like I said, my only concern is if you get busy, is one person going to be able to monitor it properly? But I imagine that would be a learning curve if need be, you'd get another employee watching it.
Yeah, each segment of taps that you see is about 108 inches, so just about 7 or so feet. So they're just managing an area that's no bigger than this, so they can adequately cover that.
Yeah, but that's one employee for all the taps, right?
Yeah, well, at that time, yeah.
Right, so
Yeah.
that's, how wide is the whole thing?
But it's just a tap area, so you're looking at about 14 feet for the tap area. But also, any guest can't just walk up and activate the taps. They already have to have a card that we've already pre-ID'd them, so it's not like they're just going to walk up. But
Okay.
good question.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Dunham.
If you said this, it didn't register. If someone comes in, 2 people come in, one drinks, the other doesn't. Do you have other things for them to drink, non-alcoholic?
Yeah, we serve Coca-Cola products, tea, and other non-alcoholic drinks, which is part of our. We also have lemonade. So.
No coffee?
No coffee. Well, Starbucks sort of has a. They have exclusivity on coffee at Woodfield. So it's a little hard for us to sell coffee. Or mac and cheese bites right now, because if I love mac in the dining hall, so.
It's in his veins.
Mine too.
Any further questions, comments? Well, same thing as I told the prior gentleman, so starting with business hours, and I think I mentioned it to you before the meeting, you can contact Carmen.
Yeah.
You've already had some correspondence. Contact Carmen during normal business hours, and get the paperwork that needs to be completed, a background check, fingerprinting, all that stuff. police department does, and then pay the fees, and then the license will be issued.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank
All right.
you.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or leave, it's up to you.
Okay, thank you, President, thank you.
Did you sign the
Oh,
law?
yes.
I did before I came in, so thank you. Thanks, man.
Okay, next item is the consent agenda. Consent agenda will be read in its entirety, voted on as one motion to approve. If you wish to discuss any items further, please indicate that when the item is read by the village clerk, so that it can be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further under committee reports. Otherwise, all items will be approved as presented on the consent agenda in one motion to approve. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Number 1, correspondence. The motion will be to approve the request from Spring Valley Concert Band to hold a raffle on October 16, 2022 at the Al Larson Prairie Center for the Arts, 201 Schaumburg Court, and to waive the fidelity bond requirement. 2, liquor licenses. The motion would be to approve the request from Mrs. Ashley Sheridan and Mr. Scott Felgenhauer of the Schaumburg J.C.'s for 3 Class D one-day liquor licenses for Septemberfest on Saturday, September 3rd, 2022, Sunday, September 4th, 2022, and Monday, September 5th, 2022, from 10 a.m. until 9:45 p.m. at 101 Schaumburg Court. B, the motion would be to approve the request from Mrs. Karen Robles for Tangled Roots Brewing Company's request for a one-day liquor license for Schaumburg Regional Airport's Hops and Props on September 17, 2022, from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. at 905 West Irving Park Road. 3, proclamations. A, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, September 2022. 4, Engineering and Public Works Committee. The motion would be to approve change order number 1 for the Woodfield Green Executive Center parking lot lighting improvements with F.H. Passion of Chicago, Illinois, in the amount of $40,218.87, and approve the required resolution. B, the motion would be to approve change order number 1 to the 2022 Street Improvement Program, contract number 1 for the Woodfield Green Executive Center parking lot improvements with Ploty Construction, Inc. of Hoffman Estates, Illinois, in the amount of $340,843, and approve the required resolution. 5, Finance, Legal and Administrative, and General Government. The motion would be to approve the Finance Monthly Report for July 2022. B, the motion would be to approve membership in the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and that dues in the amount of $3,542.54 be paid. C, the motion would be to approve membership in the National League of Cities and that membership dues in the amount of $6,409 be paid. D, the motion would be to approve the payment of expenses in the amount of $85,400 to the Schaumburg Dance Ensemble for the 2022 production of The Nutcracker. E, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute a 2-year agreement with T-Mobile of Bellevue, Washington for cellular phone and broadband service. 6, Committee of the Whole. The motion would be to approve revisions to Policy Statement 2.28, Consolidating Banking Agreement. B, the motion would be to approve revisions to Policy Statement 2.24, Investment Policy. C, the motion would be to approve revisions to Policy Statement 2.12, Write-off of Unpaid Uncollectible Water Bills in the amounts under $25. 7, Planning, Building, and Development Committee. The motion would be to direct staff to draft a zoning code amendment pertaining to commercial land uses and refer the amendment to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a public hearing. 8, the motion would be to adopt as resolution number R22-070, authorizing the village manager and village clerk to execute change order number 1 for Woodfield Green Executive Center parking lot lighting improvements with F.H. Passion. B, the motion would be to adopt as resolution number R22-071, authorizing the village manager and village clerk to execute change order number 1 to the 2022 Street Improvement Program, contract number 1 for the Woodfield Green Executive Center parking lot improvements with Ploty Construction, Inc. C, the motion would be to adopt as resolution number R22-072, authorizing village manager to execute an agreement between the Village of Schaumburg and T-Mobile for cellular and broadband services 2022 to 2024. 9, ordinances. The motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 22-065, amending Title 11, Chapter 112, Section 112.14, and Title 3, Chapter 41, Section 41.01 of the Schaumburg Village Code relative to self-service liquor licenses and fees. This concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you. I look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Clare.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Thank you. 6 ayes, no nays. Motion carries. Committee reports. There is none listed. Don't believe we have any for this evening. Comments from the audience. Opportunity to make comments regarding any items pertinent towards the Village of Schaumburg. Seeing none, we'll move on to council report.
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. President's report. I have none for this evening. Manager's report.
I have nothing to report tonight.
Okay. New business. No new business. No unfinished business. Trustee comments and mentions. Opportunity. Nope. Okay. Trustee Kozak? You have anything, Trustee Kozak? No?
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
Okay. All right, then, really, I think an appropriate item of trustee comments and mentions, especially mentions, is we're going to embarrass Trustee Dunham. It's your birthday?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Seems
I
that
said
way.
I wasn't going to have one this year.
You know, you and I are so much alike. Yes, I don't want one either, but, you know, they come around every year, and it's a good thing. So
Yeah.
we do want to say happy
Oh,
birthday, George.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you
birthday.
very much.
Happy birthday, George.
We won't embarrass you by singing, so.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't like it either.
Oh, shucks.
Anyway, so, happy birthday, George.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further? Look for motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion and a second. All those in
Take your
favor?
pick.
Aye.
Go anywhere you want.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.